Welcome to another 7 for 12 live after another great day at Lord's, the home of cricket. Joe Root, an absolute masterclass in test match batting. Somebody's prediction came true again. Fingers crossed, and watch a bit later on when I try and go 3 from 3. Just remember to like and subscribe and leave a review, and we'll answer it at the end of the day.
Well, what a day's play we've had on day 3 at Lord's, where both England and India will end the day feeling they are still well and truly in this contest. England did go past India's total thanks to a quite magnificent 180 not out from Joe Root. Given support along the way from the likes of Bairstow, went past 50, 20s for Ali and Butler, but India bowled their hearts out all day, typified by Mohammad Siraj, who was again simply sensational. Jimmy Anderson went with the final ball of the day, meaning India will come out and bat 27 runs behind England from the first ball onwards on day 4. We could be set for an absolute cracker.
Well, John, London is looking very, very nice again, sun shining, and hopefully if we have 2 days this time of sunshine, and we might just get a result of England just put themselves in the position where they're now favourites to win. What's it like on the ground?
Well, you're absolutely right. It was Saturday at Lord's is always a pretty special occasion, isn't it? And so it proved today. I don't actually think it was a complete sellout, though. And there are tickets available on day 4 as well. So if you're in the area in London, then go online and get a ticket because they're reasonably priced as well. But we were treated, I suppose. It wasn't exactly high-octane stuff. You only have to look at Joe Root's wagon wheel to show you most of the shots he played today either went that way or they went that way or that way. But still, he played the conditions. He played the game. He put on another 100 partnership with Johnny Bairstow, who's now basically set in the side, who's gone past 50. How quickly things change. And he led England from the front all the way up to the final ball of the day. And, you know, my question to you, Harmy, is this. Who is favourites from here?
I think the game's evenly poised, evenly matched. I think 20 runs, a 20-run lead for a team batting on the last day. I think that's probably about even Stevens and level. The one thing I would worry about is the length of time that India have spent in the field. The batting already is quite frail in the middle order, and if England can get a couple of wickets, and that was just the calamity of that Jasprit Bumrah 10-ball over, which took the best part of 25 minutes to have, that if Jimmy Anderson could have gotten out there tonight and had maybe three overs at KL and Rohit Sharma, then if they had knocked one of them over, it would definitely be England's day. So, you know, from me, I think we are even, Stephen, but I think the length of time England have had off the field to get themselves ready and to go again, and the length of time the batters from India have had on the field, I think when they come back, there might be some heavy legs tomorrow morning, and England will look to exploit that. And I've just got a feeling England might be the one that just gets over the line in this test match, as long as there's no dreaded rain.
Well, look, there's no dreaded rain forecast for tomorrow. I just saw that Arslan has got in contact with us on the YouTube live stream. Thanks for joining us, Arslan. And we will be here following every single day's play on Steve Harmison's YouTube channel. And he says it was great to see a bit of traditional test match cricket. And this has been a bit of a throwback, hasn't it? The way that KL Rahul set up on day 1 and 2, the way that Joe Root's played the conditions. Arsene says it's been an awesome contest. And he's right, actually. We were robbed of what could have been an absolute blinding test match at Trent Bridge. And we could be set for another one here.
Yeah, and I think that's a valid point about the Trent Bridge. If we had a winner at Trent Bridge and one of these teams was 1-0 up, and all of a sudden you could point in a direction of which way this game could potentially go, because the team that was behind might try and make the game to get back in the series. But yeah, you're right. It's been a great day of Test match cricket. I think it's been a good contest between bat and ball, even though I think it's been a slowish pitch. I'm still of the opinion that I think India would be better with Ashwin in their side, the second spinner, because like Graham Swan of my generation, he gives you a contain, and element to him, but he also has a wicket-taking and threat in there. In India, have they got four seamers who are similar? Similar in trajectory. They'll hit the deck bowlers. Siraj, the crackerjack, that takes the ball away, but he's looking to take the ball in. No, I still think if Ashwin was in the side, it would be a better balanced all-round attack from India. But thankfully for England, he's not. Where England go from here and the Test match goes from here, I think both sides will be looking at it and just playing session by session, the old cliche, and see if somebody wants to make the mistake or somebody's going to make the running. And it could come down to an absolute bit of brilliance. It could be brilliance to spell from a Wood fast through the air, knocking the stumps over because heavy and tired bodies, heavy feet from an India's batting point of view. Could be another masterclass from Anderson in skill and precision, the way he goes. Or it could be a Rohit Sharma special with Virat Kohli batting the way he can bat and setting up a total which in England might struggle to chase on day 5. So I think all in all, it's a game that's in the balance.
2 years ago, Australia were here and England could do everything but get Steve Smith out. India facing the same problem with Root. His lowest score in the series so far is 64, I think.
Yeah, and when you look at it, I've been in this position many times on that ground. Someone like Shivnarine Chanderpaul, who I think is in the top 3 of run scorers from overseas playing at Lords. And I remember one year with Shiv, you couldn't get him out, and in the end we just thought, right, we're not getting Shiv out, so we'll just get everybody else out. And I think that's what they're doing with Root at this moment in time. Every answer, Joe's ability to rotate the strike and not get bogged down and not having to face 4, 5, 6, 7 dot balls in a row is what's making him unbelievable at this minute in time. And when you're a Test match batsman, and if you get 100 in the first innings of a series, straight away the bowlers are on the back foot. And if it's a 5-match series, then every time they put the boots on, the first person to think when they're doing the laces up, pulling the strap across, all they can see is Joe Root in the full face of that New Balance bat. It is relentless at this moment in time, and he is an absolute treasure for England.
Yeah, absolutely. And that conversion problem he had over the last few years seems to have gone as well. I mean, 5 Test centuries. Only 2 batsmen in the history of the game have scored 6 Test centuries. Englishmen, that is. Only 2 Englishmen in the history of the game have scored 6 Test centuries in a calendar year. Compton back in the 50s and Michael Vaughan, the year that, one of the years that you played alongside him. So that just shows you where he is. And when you consider there's still a few tests to go, he's every chance of equaling that record or even going beyond it. What did you make of the Indian bowling today? Sharma, I thought, started slowly. Siraj was a handful throughout, and he got wickets at different times as well. And actually should, I think, have got Root's wicket and been on the honours board himself. But Bumrah, you described it on the Following On podcast a few moments ago as a guy who had a bad day and the pressure got to him towards the end of it. If India are going to bring in Ashwin for the 3rd Test match, Indian selectors are going to have a real problem working out which bowler to drop.
Absolutely, and you've got to look at the way Bumrah performed in the World Test Championship final. He looked a bit like what Sharma did yesterday, just a little bit short of a gallop and short of a few overs. I thought Ishant Sharma got better as the day went on and as he got more overs under his belt. But you've got to remember he got 9 wickets, Bumrah, at Trent Bridge and bowled quite well. So you can just put it to an off day. But the thing that concerns me the most about Jasprit Bumrah was the end of the day. He bowled an over at Jimmy Anderson, which he bowled 4 no balls in. It was a 10-ball over. And there weren't small no balls; there were decent-sized no balls. And I thought the game, what's happening throughout the day, maybe just got to him for somebody who's played in front of ridiculous amounts of people, the noise and the buzz and the hum and everything about the IPL. I just thought the occasion got to him a little bit playing at Lords and bowling on the slope because he bowled 13 no balls today. And India are fortunate that I think during my time the rule might have changed, or is it still in first-class cricket, where it's 2 runs for a no ball? You stick another 17 runs on top of England's lead, and that is a sizable total. So I think India can be fortunate about that. But you're right. If they've got to bring Ashwin back in. Got to bring him back in because he gives you variation, he gives you control, he gives you a wicket-taking option. He is one of the best off spinners of all time. But who they would leave out, it would be a difficult one because Kohli loves Sharma. I think Shami has bowled really well in this series. Never ever stopped Mohammad Siraj from bowling the way or performing the way he's performing, which is to go hard and in your face and be very, very aggressive. I thought he's been brilliant. The find for India in this series so far. So the pressure would be on Jasprit Bumrah if they made the change. But like I said before, he got 9 wickets at Trent Bridge, so it could just be simple an off day, and he'll come back stronger in the 4th innings.
Okay, well, let's get to your moment of the day. Well, Joe Root reached 100, 150, and he walked up unbeaten on 180. So I imagine that your moment of the day might feature Joe Root.
Oh, absolutely. What more can we say about this guy? You mentioned there the 100 to get on the honours board, the 150. I think that's 11 times he's gone past that now, more than anybody else. What he's done as a Test match captain, 9,000 Test match runs. Went past it today when he went from 111 to 115. The numbers keep just crunching and crunching and crunching. And this guy, boy, have we needed Anderson in the recent past? I think we needed Root more, and that is saying something. We need Root more because of the way he holds his batting lineup together. He captains with class. He speaks in public with class, and today he batted with absolute class in the home of cricket in front of nearly a full house against a very, very good bowling attack. This guy for me is the best of all time from an English point of view. I'll put Peterson in there as well because I can say because I played with them both. I played with Peterson as well, and obviously I still rate Kev as one of the best cricketers I've ever played with. So can I have Kevin Peterson's? Can I have that or can I not? Because he's not an Englishman, Kev. He's not an Englishman, Kev. Joe Root is, and he's a proud Englishman. And boy, are we thankful for having him because, for me, I think he's the best multi-format player we've got or we've had, and I think he's getting closer to being the greatest of all time, in my opinion.
Wow, strong words. He also went past 9,000 runs at an earlier age than Sachin Tendulkar, I believe. Anyway, let's get to your comments. You're watching the 7 for 12 live special. Every day of the series we will be here, myself and Steve Harmison. We will always go through every single question asked of Harmy following a show, and we will take your questions now live on YouTube. So let's get to the comment section. Right, let's have a little look at what we've got. If you've got any questions on YouTube, then please do fire them over to me, and I will put them to Steve Harmison. Let's get this question from Rajesh, who says, are England looking beyond Broad and Anderson? He understands that they are at some point, of course. But he says, apart from Jofra Archer, the others look ordinary. So let's ask ourselves this question, Harmy. India, when they come back in four years' time, who are the 3 seamers and the spin bowler in 4 years' time for their visit? And you can't say Stokes. He's the 5th. He's the 4th. He's the 4th seamer.
Yeah, that is such a hard question because they're all. The one thing about prolonging Broad and Anderson's career the way they're going, the likes of what you'd think is the heir apparents, the Woods, the Wokes, these are all getting older as well. And if you're saying coming back in 4 years' time, I'll probably look at Sam Curran, whether he's developed enough Test match game and played enough red ball cricket to keep him in and around the Test match team. I really hope it is, because I think he's got another yard of pace to go on because he's still relatively young and he's got to fill out a little bit. Jofra Archer will definitely be one if his elbow gets him to that point. I still think Jofra wants to play Test match cricket. I changed my mind on Jofra not long ago when listening to some of the comments he had. And I was really pleased when he said Test match means a lot to him. So when that injury goes, hopefully we can get him back on there. And I quite like Saqib Mahmood. I think if He's improved a hell of a lot as a cricketer. He looks as though he's gone away after having an indifferent, 12 to 18 months, and he's come back a better cricketer. So I would say potentially looking at Archer, Saqib Mahmood, and Sam Curran, because when I look at the rest, in 4 years' time, I think Wood will be of an age of, what will he be, 35? I think Wokes will be somewhere similar. Have they got it in them to go to the lengths that Anderson and Broad have got from an age point of view? I'm not so sure, especially with their bodies slowing down and getting injured. Okay,
so in 4 years' time, it'll be Sam Curran, Jofra Archer, Saqib Mahmood, Jimmy Anderson leading the bowling. Arsen's back again. He says, very excited to see Mo bowl with confidence, but what advice would you to Mark Wood on this pitch? Should he stick to back of a length?
I think he should. The one thing I'd say to Mark Wood is about his fields. And I think he could play with his fields to put the batsman in a mindset of what he's going to do. And what I mean by that is a lot of Mark Wood's dismissals on flatter pitches like this would be LBW bowled, caught behind, caught first slip. I think the rest of the time, because he's trying to get them caught on the crease, I think from there, I think he could utilise short leg a little bit more. I think he could have a man round the corner, a man deep on deep square to really sort of tell the batsman, I'm coming at you. I'm bowling bounces at you. He doesn't have to bowl them, but with his field, he's setting an impression that this is where he's going, because a batsman then has to make a decision, front foot or back foot. And Mark bowls a lot of bounces. So if there's any sort of indecision at 93, 94 mile an hour, then you'd think that the mode of dismissal of LBW bowl, caught first slip, caught wicketkeeper would come into play a hell of a lot. So for me, I would suggest them to keep being aggressive, but just play with your field to try and put things in the batsman's mind, just to get a little bit of indecision.
Brilliant stuff. G. Paul says, your thoughts on the KL, Rahul and bottle cork episode with the crowd. I'm not sure if you picked up on this, but at Lord's, they actually employ somebody to go on the outfield and pick out the corks that fly out the champagne bottles. I think someone might have just thrown one towards KL Rahul. I think the Indian captain or certainly the players complained about it. So, I mean, the fact that it comes from a rich man's drink doesn't make any difference, does it? Or woman's drink. If you're throwing something at the players, you're a bloody idiot.
Yeah, absolutely. Out the go. For me, out you go. Get a hold of them. You know, the guys with the high-vis jackets on, that's your job. Not bothered whether they pay a lot of money to come and watch, if they're watching or not watching, because a lot of people go to Lord's and don't watch. If you've thrown something on the field, you should not be allowed to go in a sporting arena ever again. Because for me, you go in there to be entertained. And if a guy on the field doesn't feel safe enough to do his job properly because he's going to get a moron throw something at him, then that man should be elevated out the ground and never, ever let back into a sporting arena again.
So there you go, G. Paul. And KK, do you think, KK's asking, was Bumrah intentionally targeting Anderson by bowling on his body? I would suggest yes, that's the point of bowling on the body. Yeah,
he's gone for him. He's thinking, if I can get Anderson in the rib cage, get him on the hand and maybe dislodge a finger, bust a finger, that's Jimmy out of the test match. It's a lot easier to win from there if there's no Jimmy Anderson. So there's no, we're playing test match cricket. It's not dog and duck second 11 where you're bowling half volleys and playing well played, sir. You're actually going hard at each other. So there's no friendly rivalry or fast bowlers union anymore. This is proper stuff. And Jasprit Bumrah was well within his rights to go hard at Jimmy Anderson. And like I said about Mohammad Siraj, two things I don't want to change: his enthusiasm. And two bits of advice: his enthusiasm, and everything has to keep going, and learn how to play the bouncer, because if you're going to go hard at somebody, you're going to cop some back.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for that question, KK. We will always answer the questions that come in on 7 for 12. And we'll finish with this one from Josh Shahab the Great. It says, do you think this lead is enough for England? Because, of course, they will be batting fourth on this pitch. So how many do you think England can chase down?
I think it's time more than anything on this pitch. I think that looking at the pitch so far, there's nothing really happening. No up and down bounce, indifferent bounce movement, no real sideways movement. The only thing that could come into the equation on this for the surface point of view is if we have a little bit of cloud cover and then the ball starts to sort of do things in the air, whether, from that point of view. But actually on this surface, I actually thought I would like to have seen Jadeja from a pavilion end to see if he could have gotten some turn, back up the slope and for the one that's going straight on. But I thought he looked quite innocuous from the nursery ground end, and we didn't really see any turn. He was turning, and it was slow going with it. So I don't see there's any demons in this surface. And if England have to chase 220, I think England could chase 220. It's about how do you go about the pressure, you go about batting third and setting the game up, and the mindset of that. I think England are freewheeling at this minute in time, and I think they're in the strongest position.
Brilliant stuff for that. For all of you who have sent in a question, thank you very much. And for those of you who sat back and didn't send in a question, we'll try and come back tomorrow and do so. Okay, Harmy's got 2 predictions out of 2. Can you do 3 from 3? Let's find out. Okay then, Harmy. After day 1, you said England will come back on day 2 and take 2 early wickets and bowl India out for around 350. They did. And then following day 2, you said that England would go past India's first innings score, Root would hit a century, and they would end up around 400. You were absolutely right. So can you go 3 from 3? What? Tell the 7 for 12 viewers what will happen here at Lord's on day 4.
I actually think the hardest innings to bat on is the 3rd innings, because you don't know what you're doing, setting the game up or where it's going, and pressure of getting the deficit to go. And I think that's why I think England will win this Test match. I actually think the 130 overs that India have just had in the field will have an effect. And I think the brittle middle order that India have got, I'm backing my little mate Mark Wood to get a few wickets on this surface, because I think even through the air, the quickness that he's got. So I think England will bowl India out tomorrow. I don't think it'll be easy. I don't think England will have a big chase, but I think England will end up chasing around about 220, which means India will have to get 250. India will get about 250, and I think England will chase 220 on day 5 of this Test match and win around about tea time. So for that to happen, I think Mark Wood's going to be the key man tomorrow, along with Jimmy Anderson, and put England in a match-winning position.
Well, you heard it here first. A prediction for day 4 and 5 here on 7 for 12. You will not find that on any other cricket YouTube show. That is an absolute guarantee. Harmy, thank you. And thank you to the viewers of 7 for 12. We'll be back following day 4 at Lord's. We'll be back following every single day of the series. Please remember to subscribe, to review, to like, tell your friends, and we'll see you tomorrow.